Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement. A good day to you viewers and of course on all of St. Lucia. Welcome to the program Agriculture on the Move. My name is Phillip Sydney. Today our discussion is the status of the banana industry in St. Lucia. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Kerde Severin, who is the project manager for the Banana Productivity Improvement Project. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, Sid. Thanks for having me.
Comrade, I've heard a lot of good things since that unit was formed, this project was established. Farmers who were out of production have come back into, some of them coming gradually. Some of those who were there are expanding their acreages, and so production is on the increase. Like the name of the project is Production and Improve Productivity. Kurde, where are we today since you began that project?
Yeah, Sid, as I said, thanks for having me. Last year, 2017, the first year of operation, I would say it was a good year. We have moved from a pre-project situation where we had 286 active farms. I said 286 active farms because you may get one farmer having two farms.
Correct.
Okay, to a situation now where we have 726 active farms. We have moved from a situation of where we had 1,117 acres on the banana production to a situation where we have 2,232 acres.
Wow.
So in that short space of time, we have almost doubled the amount of acres. We have increased the number of farms by over 150%.
Wow.
Okay, so as you said earlier, a number of people have come back. A number of people are now in the system. I say in the system because for you to be able to sell to the European market or the English market, you need to be Global GAP certified. And that takes, there's a cost and it takes a little time.
Okay.
And because if you are out, it might take you a little longer to get back in because you may not have the resources to be able to deploy in order to get to that point. Okay. But the good thing is that a number of people are now either selling for the regional market or and are back they're back in the system. With respect to the European market, while the official statistics shows that there was a decline in production, I have a different view. I'll tell you why. But at least we were able to exports to the UK increased by between 25 and 26%. Okay, which is a good sign because this is our premier market. The regional market, there was a decline because Trinidad, which was the largest importer of our fruits, in 2017 they imported maybe, whereas previously they used to import something like between 3,000 and 4,000 tons. They only did just a few hundred tons.
Okay.
And then simply because the market in, they looked at Suriname and other places to import cheaper fruits. Okay, so as a result. And of course, the other thing which we were a little concerned about, and we're still concerned about, is there were a number of persons who believe that there were fruits which were suitable for export, but because at the time there was an allocation system, and we reckon that somewhere between 30–40% of fruits produced due to that allocation system were not exported.
What contributed, in your opinion, to the farmers coming back into the market system?
Yeah, I think it's a question of confidence, that the fact that government basically came out and they enunciated a policy that, look, we believe that the banana industry is one of our prime policy objectives to revitalize the banana industry. And that in itself instilled confidence. In addition to that, a critical factor is the procurement of inputs.
Right.
Because a number of those farmers were unable to procure inputs when they needed them and in the quantities that they needed them. That is why we place a lot of emphasis on procuring what we call the critical inputs. And we call the critical inputs, we talk about fertilizer. Okay, as you know, fertilizer is critical from a nutrition point of view.
Yes.
It's critical. Then we say, in order to control the black cickatoka, we need to be able to have the oil and the fungicide.
On time.
On time, okay? The other one we are looking at now, and we're going to start importing, is blue diethyl, because you find that farmers were in a bind when they came to spray. There was no blue diethyl, so it's a catch-22 situation. Do I spray and damage the fruits which are ready for the market, or do I market my fruits and then come and spray afterwards?
Okay.
But by delaying the spraying, it has its negative side.
Yes.
You understand? And so that was an issue. And the other thing we're going to look at is also lime, because we have an agronomist on board, and what we discovered is that a lot of our soils are acidic. So it means that we need to make provision, and we have been making provision for the procurement of lime to neutralize the soil, to allow the plants to enable the plants to utilize whatever fertilizer is applied to the plant.
What do you have in place when it comes for the education and sensitization of farmers when it comes to your pest management situation?
Okay, we have a team which is specifically devoted to pest and disease management. It is led by an agronomist who is very versatile and trained in the whole area, especially the black cickatoka. He's supported by a team of 4 persons. 3 of them who do what we call the monitoring and surveillance, go out to the fields. We have 52 reference sites, okay? And then they go out there and then they monitor the diseases, the development of the disease in each of these reference sites. Okay. Then that data is fed back into a system, and using technology, the data is analyzed, and then based on that data, then it is decided which area that we are going to spray. And of course, that team also decides what fungicide will be used for in that particular week. Okay. So we have a team that is dedicated specifically for this. The other new thing which we introduced in last year was a special crew, dedicated to spraying. Because what we found out was that, especially in the Mabuya Valley, for example, a number of the farmers there, they were neglecting their farms because they don't like the idea of spraying themselves. Apart from that, some of them did not have mist blowers. Okay, so what we have done is we have gone out there and we have actually put a team in place. And then when the advisory goes out, that team now takes responsibility for spraying for those farmers. Of course, they pay for the labor costs, okay, and also the mix.
So those are considered the hotspot areas?
This team also address hotspots. If there are hotspots, this team is deployed to deal with the hotspots. But in the Mabuya Valley now, we have more or less centralized the control of the spraying and control.
You know why I'm saying that? Because some people are of the view, and that was expressed recently, that the unit does not have a full hand on the control of the black cickatoka, you know, and I'm happy that you were able to explain that, because again, it's sensitization, education. So even the public, when they see things happening, they need to know why. So that's why I asked the question.
Well, there was a flare-up in December and probably early January. Because as you know, the weather and the climate change is something it's a reality. Yes, and the weather pattern was erratic. It was erratic. And so, as you rightly said, up to this point in time, most of the control is done by individual farmers.
Right.
The advisories go out, okay, and they say, okay, region 3 you're supposed to spray, region 4 you're supposed to spray this week, region 5 you're supposed to spray, whatever region, it goes out. But in most of these cases, the farmers collect the oil and fungicide mix, and it is left for the farmer to actually do the spraying. As to whether he does the spraying when he's supposed to is another question. Yes. Sometimes that mix stays at his house because for various reasons, it must be the weather is
Raining,
bad,
yes.
so he cannot do it. Secondly, the labor may not be available, okay? So he may not do it on the, at the right time. And when it comes to when he's ready to do it now, as to how well he agitates that mix, the mixture is also critical, because if the mix, you have it resting there for, say, a few days, what you get is you get the thing settled at the bottom.
Well, hold that point. We'll do for our first break. You're watching Agriculture on the Move. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon.
For effective chemical treatment of black sigatoka, practice routine preventative maintenance of all tools and equipment, especially the mist blower, to ensure proper functioning. Clean sprayer after use and service the machine regularly as recommended by the manufacturer. Whenever you are using pesticides to control black sigatoka disease, personal protection and safety measures must be followed. Spray operators must always wear proper protective gear. Before or when handling pesticides, put on your overalls, respirator, goggles, boots, and gloves to avoid contact with the skin, inhalation, and ingestion of pesticides.
For more information on how to treat and control black sigatoka on your farm or in your backyard garden, contact the Black Sigatoka Management Unit at 451-5491, 451-5894, or email bpmu@candw.lc. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Agriculture in collaboration with the International Cooperation and Development Fund of the Republic of China on Taiwan.
Welcome back to the program. Could we're going to end on the black sigatoka, because there are so many other things to discuss. But in terms of availability of the chemicals, are the chemicals available when the farmer requires at this point in time?
Oh yes. Last year we ordered sufficient fungicides and oil to last a year.
Okay.
So we have a year. At any one point in time, we have at least between 6 and 8 months supply.
And the same formula in place in terms of the farmers paying half?
Yes. Farmers pay 50% of the cost.
Wow.
Of the cost price. 50% of the cost. That's basically what we have in place. And the fertilizer is the same.
Okay.
Half price.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, fertilizer, plant nutrition again is key, because you're talking about production. Okay. Where are we with this? Again, fertilizer available when they want it on time. I know there was some issue again that was mentioned recently with the mix, chemical mix, and of course in the physical mix. Tell us where we are.
Okay, we so far we have ordered something like almost 900 tons of fertilizer. Okay, now as you rightly said, when we brought in the first set of fertilizer. We brought the physical blend from First Sun, which farmers are accustomed to.
Right.
That went well. We brought a second set, which was chemical blend. That went well too. The third set was chemical blend. But there seems to have been issues, because at the time the weather pattern had changed, and for the chemical blend, it is so released. For it to work well, you must have sufficient moisture.
Moisture in the soil,
okay?
Yes.
And so the greenery which you see immediately after you apply the physical blend, you may not get it.
Yes.
So there were issues. Farmers, there was some complaint. In some areas, I went to a farm in Maki, and the guy said, this is all he's going to apply. Okay, there's a guy in Crown Lands, and he said, boy, up to this day, that's all he orders, the chemical blend, because he has seen the results. But there are those persons who complained about the physical blend, the chemical blend, so we understand it. And then there's the other set which we brought in. We brought in some can. We brought in some can last month, and also some NPK. This time, the NPK, we on the advice of one of our soil scientists, we improved on it. We brought in 16824 plus 2 MgO, plus a little sulfur, and also some boron.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
So we have that fertilizer in stock, and as I said, we sell it at 50% of the cost. And the can went like hot bread. We brought in 100 tons, and within a couple of weeks it was all gone.
Okay.
But we currently in stock we have both the chemical blend. Some people are still buying the chemical blend, and of course we have.
But going back in history, the chemical blend was what? What the first one?
Albatross.
Yes, albatross. Yes.
Yeah, albatross from.
And it's amazing how farmers
Holland.
are able to know these things. So I mean, the farmer is smart, Because I remember, I don't know if you remember walking on the in the field, and then you used to come out with this white thing under the dermis of the leaf,
That's right.
and you used to, you know, on your clothes and stuff like that. With the physical blend, they say that does not happen. Don't ask me why, I don't know. But the farmer was able to, you know, I remember that, yeah. So I understand that. But then let's look at, for example, acidity, because you mentioned acidity, which I think is key, because as you know, over the years, with the fertilization of sulfate of ammonia, etc., the soil is very acid now. So there is the nutrients are trapped and cannot be released, right? Where we are at now in trying to get our pH level to the level where the nutrients can be available to the plants.
What we have done with Lucius coming on board as a soils person, what he has done is that he has done a number of sampling throughout the island. And then he has conducted a number of tests. He has found out the situation. And as he conducts the tests and he finds the situation, then we issue lime. Because in the past, people just used to come and say they want lime, whether the soil is acidic or not. But we have taken a different approach. We are saying, hey, before you apply lime, let us do the tests, and if we find the soil to be acidic, then lime is issued. Okay. So that's where we are. And for this year, Lucius has programmed to do something like 250 farms in this regard. Okay. Yeah, throughout the island.
General agronomy. Drainage, of course, is key. How you deflower. Tell us, take us through that.
Yeah, well, the drainage is critical. As you know, aeration is critical for the plant to be able to absorb the chemical. You know, it's just like breathing.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
So we place our emphasis on field drains, but the only constraint is that the farmer may complain that he doesn't have the resources to undertake the field drains. But when it comes to the major interceptor drains and the waterways, the project basically does that. Okay, so what we do is we essentially go out there, we identify the areas, and then we issue small contracts. Okay. So that people can come in with excavators and so on, and then take care of that. So, and then we leave the field drains to the farmers to undertake. Okay. Where the farm is a new farm, where it's a new farm, where he has to construct drains from scratch, the project gives support in terms of $300 an acre for every acre where for every acre new drains are constructed. The project gives some support to the farmer.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
What's the project the way forward coming this year and to go?
We have a number of things planned for this year. Last year, as I said, we were laying the foundation. So this year we have termed it our expansion and increased productivity year.
Action time.
Action. So what we have programmed, we have planned to increase the number of acres by another 500 acres.
Good.
Okay. We are looking to also replant something like 200 acres. The reason is at any one point in time, we would like all those farms which are 4 acres and more to at least replant 1 acre every year.
Ah, okay.
Okay? Okay. So what we want to do this year is to target 215 acres. Okay. Okay, so it means that every year you would have a new field coming on stream and so on. And this can do a number of things. It can buttress the farmer in case of bad weather. It can increase his productivity, and what have you. So this is our goal, our goal for our main goal for this year.
But how you believe the farmer is going to buy into that? Because to establish a new field is cash, eh?
It's to rehabilitate, essentially.
Yeah.
It's to it's to rehabilitate. You have a farm which is, once the field is more than 5 years old.
Then more
than 5 years old, we're saying, okay, it's 5 years old, maybe it's time to look at it again. At least do it, phase it out. Okay. Do 1 acre. For a farm which is about 3 acres, 2 acres, it's not something you'd want to do. But the larger farms, you're saying, okay, let's do one farm at a time. Apart from that, when you rehabilitate, it gives you the opportunity to probably intercrop with maybe some melons, some root crops, some short-term crops, which can at least bring some cash additional in the meantime. Okay, so this is one of our objectives, is to expand. In terms of increasing productivity, we want to take productivity this year to between 10 and 15 tons to the acre. Right. Okay, so we're going to pay a lot of attention to follower setting. A lot of the agronomy
now has to be in place.
Has to be in place. How because you go to farms and you see 3, 4 followers. And that does not help. We want to move from a situation where the farmer is getting say like 0.75 bunch to a box. What we want is at least a minimum. Each bunch should be able to give you at least a minimum of one box of banana. That is the direction we want to take. But it means a lot of emphasis on the agronomy, a lot of the practices being done properly, being done on time. And in this regard, what we are going to do.
Hold that point.
Okay.
We do for another break. Don't go away.
Yon nan se manya pour contrôler maladie sigatoka noue, c'est pour spray épichémique. Il pas bon pour spray durant la pluie et ben si tan mawe et qui ka gade akwedi la pluie peut tomber en 3 pour 4 nè di temps parce que la pluie kay laver l'huile sprayer. Aussi, il pli meilleur pour spray durant journée les la pani trop vent, chalet et ben les il pas trop mouillé. Le soleil la trop chaud. Il ka fait ces feuilles figues là et bien banane la plier et qui ka difficile pour ces feuilles là bien recevoir traitement qui en lait et bien en bas feuilles là. Bon le matin et bien tard l'après-midi plus meilleur pour spray parce que temps plus frais et ces feuilles là ka ouvert. Changer le ou ka spray toujours mettez plus attention à sous ces jeunes feuilles là. Pas spray ces plantes trop et faire siwe ou spray toute plantation en yon seul coup. Plant qui manche spray ça affecte les autres ces plants bien à l'aise.
Pour plus d'informations à sous manière pour traiter et contrôler maladie sigatoka noue à sous plantation et ben jardin ou ça téléphoner département pour ménager sigatoka noue à numéro 45 54 9 et ben 45 58 94 et ben email yo à bpmu@candw.lc. Commission Salak a sorti Hod Ministère de l'Agriculture ensemble avec Fonds Coopération Internationale et Développement Hod Pays République la Chine Taiwan.
Welcome back. Could you talk about agronomy, and which is key because you can have all the inputs available to you, and in the certain things that you do not do, it's a waste of time. So you're talking about that. What are the aspects of the agronomy that the farmer needs to do?
Yeah, there are lots of things. For example, follower setting is one of them.
Yes.
Another thing which has been a little surprising to a lot of us is how the farmer places fertilizer.
Right. Oh yes. That is.
Most farmers, it's an old habit where they just throw the fertilizer at the base of the plant.
And there's no feeding roots there.
There are no feeding roots there.
Correct.
Okay, so what we are going to do this year, we're going to establish 4 plots. In I think in region 3, 4, 7, and region 8, one in each, to demonstrate all the right. If you do all the things right, what can happen?
Correct.
Okay, so we're going to establish these plots and making sure that all the agronomic practices are done and done right, that you get all the inputs right. If you do everything right, what the results are going to be. In order to demonstrate to the farmer the way we should go. Okay. So that is one of the things we will put a lot of emphasis in order to achieve this, because our target is between 15 and 20 tons to the acre.
Where are we at now?
I reckon we are somewhere. In some farms it varies. For example, in the Dedlo area, there are farmers there who are doing 15 to 20 tons. Okay. In some other areas, they are probably around between 8 and 10. I would say average. We are probably averaging between 10 and 12. On an average. But there's a lot of room. For example, you go to the woodlands area. The fields are looking nice, but the bunch sizes are small. And so we want to change that. And one of the reasons that we believe is the density.
Right.
Okay, they plant, first of all, the follower setting is an issue. They plant the things very close. And then at the same time, they still apply the same amount of nutrients. Okay. Then the other issue we understand, for example, in Roseau, because in the past there was a shortage of fertilizer and so on, so people do not apply the max, the recommended dosage.
So they short
with regularity.
Shortcut.
You understand? So, and banana is a high input, high output.
What
you put in is what you're going to get out.
Sauce to sink.
Precisely. So we'll place a lot of emphasis, and of course, critically is of course, pest and disease control is going to be important. Okay, pest and disease control, and one of the things we want to do this year is to introduce new technology.
Right.
Instead of people carrying a Miss Blow on their back, we're going to introduce ATVs.
Wow.
We went to introduce an ATV with tanks and so on, which can actually drive through.
Wow.
And then with nozzles. To the spray. We are looking to at least get 1 or 2 of those things as a trial, so we can demonstrate the proper way of doing things. Apart from that, what it gives us a better handle, because if it is done, if the spraying is done on time and centrally done, then you get a better handle than individual farmers spraying when they can and when they want.
Right.
So these are some of the things we're hoping to do to get the production and productivity where we really want it to.
The area of education, sensitization, because I remember I had your Lucius here and we're talking about pest control, and he went into it technically. I'm wondering where are we with the farmers? Are they, because that's a science, you know.
It is. So we as you know, we have 5 extension officers. Like we have 3 guys devoted to surveillance, disease, and so on. But we also have 5 extension officers devoted to advising farmers in terms of all the agronomic practices, letting them understand how the disease operates, what to do, how to do it. And so these guys are there full time. That's what they are paid to do, to go out there and basically work with the farmers, help the farmers. In addition to that, you also have there are about 3 guys from NFTO, and Winfresh also have about 2 other guys. And what we have decided to do is to try and see how we coordinate our efforts. Okay. What we have agreed at the senior level is that there would be zonal meetings. There are 3 zones. The country has been divided into 3 zones, and then Cuthbert Joseph, who is the technical manager at Winfresh, every week he would meet with these people at each of the zones and then coordinate the on-field activities, so that we know that the requirements of the market are met. And at the senior level, we meet with the senior management of Winfresh and NFTO to look at policy and issues which actually affect the whole banana industry.
As I want to end in 2 minutes to talk about insurance, bring some good news to the farmers.
Well, the good news is last year we spent a lot of time mobilizing and encouraging farmers, explain to them the importance of insurance. This year we are hoping that we can get most of our farmers to be registered with CRIF. And more critically, we also did a lot of work talking to farmers about the whole question of a pension.
Right.
And the way forward is for register all the farmers with the National Insurance Corporation, so they can begin to make a contribution to the NIC, so that when they get to the ripe old age where they can no longer farm, they will be, like all of us, would be entitled to a pension. This has been welcomed by the farming community, and we want during the month of May to begin the registration period. So we are hoping that by May, June, all our banana farmers will be registered and they will begin to make a contribution.
Final words from you, sir.
No, I just want to thank you, and I just want to say that to tell the banana farmers to keep the faith. Okay, we are here to lend a hand. We are here to give them all the support that is required in order to take the banana industry where we believe it can go. We believe that production we can get to a stage where, not like the good old days but I believe we can still do somewhere between 30, 40, 50, 60,000 tons. That is what we are hoping by year 4 to get to. So we just want them to keep the faith. We know there are challenges, but keep the faith.
Yes. Thank you for being here, sir, and I wish you success with your team, and of course, that will rub off on the farmers.
Thank you very much.
Take care again.
All right.
You've been watching Agriculture on the Move. I'd like to thank you, the viewers, for viewing on farmers, banana farmers. Please speak to your extension officer, get information so that you will get the necessary technical know-how to ensure that you increase your productivity. Thank you again. I'm Phillip Sydney. Goodbye. Yes, ma'am.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.